Here we go. Here we go. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Here we go. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Show, show. Here we go. Here we go. Welcome to church with Bo. Bo, Bo. Welcome, gang. Bo back with another one. Church with Bo. Welcome. Say your prayers. Say good morning, good afternoon, sweet dreams, all good things. May God bless you for listening to this and in everything you do. Thank you for being here. Now, it's been it's been a nice couple weeks. We had a good week break there. We're back on it. What have I done? Joey was out here for 2 weeks. We were chilling. He got to, get an introduction to my side of Georgia. We're streaming and playing video games out the basement down here in my office. Sorry, I'm looking around because it's very disorganized on my desk. I got like 8 different bottles of water and different drinks, but it's all good. What else did we do? Oh, I fixed his chain. He had a nice chain, and I took it to work, got it nice and fixed up, polished the shit out of it. We made some music. He went to the studio with some friends he had from out here who were writing and recording music for 21 Savage and like I think Glorilla or Lotto's new albums. Big things, very big. No, it seemed cool. We had a lot of fun. We went out, we ate some shit, we smoked around and checked out little scenic viewpoints in Georgia and everything. It was cool. We got drunk on sake or soju one night, not sake. I took him to the Japanese store by my work where at all the exotic candy stores that have been going viral, they've got these like peach Fantas and shit. Here's one of them. They look kind of like this, and they got cans of them. There's like a big clear bottle too that looks like more like the American Fanta bottle. And just this little one I've seen in LA for like $10, $15. So we went to this store by my work and they got them for like $2, $3. We went crazy. Joe bought a bunch. She ended up getting back to California with a bunch of it and doing a mukbang at the studio of, exotic snacks you can't get anywhere else. That was a good stream. Yeah. What else did I do that week or those 2 weeks? I recorded some music. I sent Joey a couple of my songs on the last day. He decided it was time and he was willing to work on some music for me. The sad part was I had to stay up with him and basically be like right here while he's right there working on it, or else he would just instantly fuck it off and, fuck me. Not really, but that's kind of what it felt like. At least I was like, oh God, I got work in the morning. But even though it's 4 a.m., I'm afraid if I don't stay up later with him now, he's not gonna do any of it, He's gonna work on one song as far as we get till I'm like, all right, it's time to go to bed. And then he's just gonna fuck off and never ever work on it again. And if I ever ask, it's gonna be something like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I'm getting to it. Don't worry about it. It's not like you paid me or anything. But I don't care. Ultimately, life is life. I'm gonna keep it pushing regardless. I'm not mad at the kid either way. Everybody's got their own life going on and their own priorities. Doesn't change anything in my eyes, ultimately. So I'm gonna keep dropping. I've been recording more music as always. I've been putting more stuff together. I decided I want to write a book, a nice little memoir. I'm starting by writing every memory as far back as I can remember. I'm trying to do chronologically, right? So I'm trying to write down all my memories, not necessarily even in like an interesting or storied format, so much as get them down on paper, A to Z, and then split it up. If it's literally like 10,000 memories that I got on there or whatever, I can split it up. Like, all right, let's do a book on just my childhood till I moved to America. And then let's do a book on just like beating nephrotic syndrome. What is nephrotic syndrome? And then we can do a book on like from when I decided after watching 8 Mile as like an 8-year old that I want to do this. And, my life was basically just like a Rubik's Cube of me twisting and turning the sides to figure out how I could end up eventually making music until I turned 15, 16, and I convinced my friends to start making music with me because I didn't have the money to do it on my own. So, and I wanted some friends to do it with. It always helped everything. I realized growing up, I was like, I like playing World of Warcraft, by myself or Counter-Strike, Call of Duty by myself. But for some, whatever reason, it just feels better to have my friends with me, especially friends that like you've grown up with and you've known since you were like really little and you have that history and you build something and you guys keep it going, they get their life going and you get your life going, it's a nice thing to be able to manifest. So I've always been big on trying to do that, and then maybe a book just about like outside of music, how my life has gone from like high school, end of middle school, start of high school till now, and how I'm staying motivated. So that's been really exciting. I've really only just started on writing the memories because it's a very long process just to even think about and start to try to sort the memories. Like, okay, this and then that, and then okay, wait, was this one actually before that one? And what about this? And should I just exclude that? Because some of them are just like, I remember jumping into the snow butt naked as like a 2 or 3 year old. Because my sister and I woke up, my sister had to get ready for school. I just had to wake up and get ready. So my parents were like, it snowed. And it's like, hell of snow. I mean, like 5 feet of snow in the yard. And they're like, oh, run out, play in the snow. And like, I watch my sister, she just runs out and like does like a star into the snow and like rolls around to basically wash herself off for the morning and wake up. And even though it seemed like an ice bath from hell type situation, I did it too. I ran like, ah! I don't know if I twisted and turned, but I jumped in the snow and I was like, man, fuck that. What the hell? That is not what I thought it would be. I was hoping for a less, I guess, shocking wake up, but still, the after effects are always nice. It's like getting out of the sun or getting out of an ice bath. You're like, oh, I feel like him. I feel great for I don't know how long, but it's always nice, you know. So that's been interesting. That's been occupying a lot of my mental. Been excited. I found out at work that I'm finally going to get transferred. I was supposed to be transferred by like the start of August, end of July type of a situation. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen. I talked to my friend whose wife is the manager at the store I'm supposed to go to, and she didn't need anybody. They have like a maximum of 6 people in their jewelry store, jewelry shop where they work on the jewelry. And I guess I was number 7 and they can't have more than 6. So he's like, I don't know what, our manager's telling you, but my wife said she definitely doesn't need anybody else. She literally can't even fit nobody else. And yeah, so that was sad. I bit the bullet all through August. And in the last 2 days of August, last 3 days, I guess, my manager came over to on his off day to go sell his boat, and he was like, "Hey, come outside. It's good news." Like she called me. She called me, and she said she needs somebody. If there's anybody I could send, she'll take Anthony, even like whatever. And I told her, wow, like, for me, it was great because she called me. I'm not asking her to take somebody like you need it and stuff. It was more like, she needs you, so maybe she'll offer you more money. I don't know. I'm hoping I get at least an extra dollar out of this. That's really the main goal after blowing up and acting like I don't know nobody in the jewelry industry. But yeah, she called and she needed me, and I'm gonna have to start by polishing and basically doing like four jobs at once and forcing them to let me on the bench and keep working on practicing and getting better with my hands on jewelry for real because I polished so much I could literally just I go on autopilot. I'll put Pokemon on and on my phone and just be brr, 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 polishing like a madman for real. So hopefully I can speed my polishing up a little bit just to be able to have everything done to the point that it's like, oh, he's just waiting for us to throw two, three jobs in there and getting back to it. And I don't need that, I'm trying to be an actual jeweler, but it's good. It's good because even if I'm not getting anywhere near the money I feel like I deserve for the amount of work I do, or the money I would like for the work I do, at least it's forward progress. Because at this store, they weren't really teaching me anything new anyway. My manager, Mike, was big at this point on reassuring me that you have to be patient. You got to wait. You got to be very patient. If you don't wait and let your skills develop over time, you got to wait longer to get up to the next level. But he's not teaching me anything new. I've learned the same like five, six things I'm doing. I haven't been taught or, pushed to even try a pair of earrings in any possible way. I haven't touched any bracelets. I think my other coworker Shivo has done more for me than my manager Mike in that regard because Shivo will actually give me stuff. He's like, "Have you ever worked on this?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Okay, I got you. I'm watching you the whole time. If something happens, I'll fix it. Just stop. Let me know if I can push you to fix it. We can get you to do it if it's too much and I got you." Mike is boo, fuck out of here. So ultimately, I'm happy for the move. They were getting too comfortable having me around. They started treating me like I was just anybody. They don't care about my life story. They don't care about all the trials and tribulations I've gone through. All they care about is the next dick they're gonna get in their ass that weekend. And it sucks. I don't care. At the end of the day, do you, whatever. Suck a million dicks, bro. It's fine. It literally doesn't affect me at all. But once it does start to affect me, and you are fucking with my own progress and livelihood, it's like my old coworker, this Korean man, Mr. Kim said. He said, you can't stay at the same shop, not just in this business, but in this company. Jared's is literally like Walmart in that after 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years, these people start looking at you like you're always going to be there, like you need them, like they don't owe you anything, and you actually owe them something for paying you $17 an hour as a 30-year-old man for 2 years and just telling you that you should be thankful and grateful of that much. Bruh, fuck all that. So Mr. Kim was big on every 2 years if you can't switch companies and find a new complete jeweler to work for, switch stores within the company. Switch to another store. Don't let them try to bully you or push you into something you're not. Let them know you really don't need this and you really will figure it out at all costs. And it's good, like I've gotten way too comfortable in this particular shop and they've gotten way too comfortable with me. Like I said, I'll reiterate, they really do not care about me as a person. They care about how it's going to affect their current day because they have to spend 8 hours, whatever, a day, 5 times a week with me in the same room. So as much as they can curb that to be in their favor of having their own best possible days, they will. And that's not something I've just learned. I've known that since I first started work. shit, since I was doing sports in high school, people were just trying to bend the players to their wills to make the coach look better. You know, they didn't give a fuck about us at the end of the day. It was more about getting their own goals finished off their checklists. And that's fine. You know, you can't control anybody. You can't expect much better anywhere you go moving forward. All you can really control is yourself, your attitude in the situation, and how you handle the situation. So I've been working on myself. I've been trying to get better at handling these situations. I've been trying to have a better attitude in life in general and to be grateful for every opportunity and for everything. I don't know. The older I get, the more deterministic I become, and the less I believe we really have any free will. I believe the illusion of free will is very real, and it can feel very good to feel like you're doing what you want to be doing, and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, I also just keep coming back to an overwhelming feeling that everything is going as it's supposed to be going. The motions are just the motions. The universe has been expanding from what an explosion 32 billion years ago, and everything's just been expanding outward and moving in whatever directions and spinning since then. So why is the dust on the water and the people and the bugs on any random planet in any galaxy of the entire universe any different? Like if everything is moving in these like calculable ways and shit, why are we just a random fucking speck of dust and elements thrown together with fungus or whatever on a planet any different from that? You know, I don't think we really are. So I guess I find comfort in it ultimately because otherwise I would find extreme discomfort in the fact that things might just be going the way they've always been meant to go, you know. But I see great things for myself. I see amazing opportunities and possibilities for what I can do, not just for myself, but for other people, for people struggling, for my own family, and to help my own family overcome their struggles while not giving them so much that, you know, we create a society or a family of weaklings who just want to live off Bo Banks, you know, just want Bo to be their bank. And whenever they got something going on, when they feel any type of discomfort, they can just call me and, you know, I'll handle that. That's not it. You've got to handle your own discomfort just like I have. You know, I'm a firm believer that overcoming difficult things, working out first thing in the morning, hitting an ice bath at some point, you know, even if you hate it, especially if you hate it, can be a very good learning experience. You know, what did Mike Tyson say? You got to do discipline is doing something you hate like you love it, you know, and you got to be better at that than everybody else. That's a real big game in society. And you know, a lot of these people, a lot of these older people you see around here really don't feel like they portray, really don't feel deep inside like they act when you see them and when you're around them. You know, a lot of these people aren't just disciplined. You know, the ones who are actually happy on the inside are disciplined. And it's through that discipline that they've been able to foster and keep that joy. You know, a lot of people are just lying and doing whatever they feel is right to be in the next best position that they're trying to achieve. And it's sad, you know? A lot of these people have life fucked up and in turn have themselves fucked up. It's very sad, you know? It's a lot of wasted potential out there because people are chasing money. Like my mom has been telling me a lot of times and for a long time that, oh, you're so smart, you're so driven, like you did it, you can do anything. Like, I don't know why you're doing these stupid things and you're making like no money doing them. Like, your dad was always chasing the next biggest paying option and he had a family to take care of. And it was always like he had 40 jobs in 40 years. So, whatever was paying him, and then he would look for something to pay him more and figure out how to enjoy the process of what he's actually doing after the fact. Like, If the money was right, everything else could fall into place. Because for me, I find that hard to believe. I've done a lot of mushrooms and acid, and I've thought a lot about a lot of things in life, and work especially. And for me, I just don't understand. Don't get me wrong, I understand getting through a job and being able to afford what you need to afford and that making you happier. I understand having people to take care of that depend on you, so you put yourself through hell and work on fucking construction and at the fucking 80th floor of a high rise that doesn't even have windows yet, and it's raining and windy, and you got to take those fucking construction elevators through the building just to get to where you're working. And it's like a constant risk of death, like those fucking crane operators that have to climb up 300 feet, 150 feet into the air before they can sit down and do their job, and then they got to climb back down for lunch, back up. Fuck that. Like, even a lot of that shit, I would rather die than do. I thought about it many times because I would hear when I was going to San Francisco State in college, I would hear the window washers in SF make like 120 an hour starting, blah, blah, blah. So I would look at the window washers around the school and, out of the BART when I'm riding the train back to my car, and I would see window washers in the rain, in the wind, in the heat, and those fucking things waving back and forth, and they're just like, whoop, waiting for it to wave back, whoop, get a little more. I'm just like, bro, I don't care. They could be paying me $1,000 an hour. All I would see is my death until it happened. And it eventually would, because you're not just throwing the dice on that, man. Yeah, you can get one paycheck, two paycheck, but eventually you're gonna end up hungover or something, because that's a crazy job. And you're gonna make a mistake, and even if you don't die, you're gonna end up like those guys I've seen on the news. The window washers will get hit by like a wave of wind or some shit, and the next thing you know, they're just hanging off of that thing because they have like a little harness with like a fucking rock climbing thing attached to it, and they get thrown out of their little cart that they're washing the windows on, and they're just hanging. Nobody can, there's usually two per thing, so nobody can pull you up. They can't do anything. All they can do is call like their boss to have like the thing raise up back to the top, and then they get like a bunch of people basically to climb in there and risk all of their lives to pull you back in and get you right. I can't do that. I'm sorry, like, it's not worth money in general is not worth that to me. Maybe at some points I've thought even maybe just the thrill of being that high up and on a mountain with no, rock climbing with no type of harness or anything up this like the face of an iceberg. The thrill alone sometimes is exhilarating. It feels good, and like it might be a cool thing to do just for myself to know that I can overcome that and get through it. But at a certain point, you're just doing that to yourself every day, and not just for yourself, just for a paycheck, even if it is for your family and your kids and everything. No, that's not me. I apologize, but I'm sorry, not sorry for that. I would much rather, worst case scenario, I would much rather just live in the woods, figure out how to build my own shelter and start a fire and drink water from the river and hunt small animals and game and shit until I could build something worth of value to myself, at least. Shit, even living near the ocean and fishing and shit and building a hut on the beach or right off the beach type of situation sounds infinitely better than fucking risking my life for a paycheck. I'm sorry. And I've considered being a cop, before I knew what cops actually were. That I was like, yeah, that could be an exhilarating as a kid. That could be a really exhilarating, fun job to, run around and chase criminals and do good and help people who are getting robbed and this and that. as a kid, you want to be a good guy in a situation, and in every situation is, a kid who likes superhero stuff. You're like, that's cool. I like being the good guy and helping people and saving ladies and everything. And the older I get, the more I'm like, bro, even like obviously with that, that's just you're a government pawn for fucking bullshit. But the ones the little part of the job that the ones that do well do is nice, where they actually help people and save people and, teach kids not to do fucked up things and be bad. That's cool. But ultimately, you got to risk your life for that, you know? So if you're not really passionate about it, you're not cut out for it, it's not for you. When I was 18, on my 18th birthday, I decided that I am willing to die by my music. I am willing to die behind my own artistry and my own talent and my own hard work in this artistic endeavor of making music and wanting to perform it for people and share this feeling that I manifest within myself of inspiration and love and truth and all these good things with other people, with the youth, with the olders, with everybody I can, and the older I get, and the more Diddy stories and R. Kelly stories and all this shit that you hear about, the more I realize that's why I'm where I'm at, because that's not what, the government and the media want to push at all. People are addicted to hearing fucked up weird, evil ass music from fucking demons. They want to hear that shit. They want to hear about what it's like to rob a dude after drugging him from Cardi B. They want to hear how simp a guy is for loving on a bitch and trying to actually build a life and a family with her. It's insane, but that's where the culture, at least in the US right now, is at. That's why 9 out of 10 of you bitches are pure hot garbage. Just like 100,000 out of 10 of you dudes are pure unadulterated garbage. I don't care. I'm not finna bend to your stupid ass will. I'm not with any of that, And if it means that I've got to keep working a mediocre bullshit job until I can either start my own, buy one from somebody else, or find an actual good human being with a jewelry store who wants a jeweler that I can work for and is willing to pay me an actual livable wage, you know? At some point, all of that, regardless, if it doesn't culminate with me actually doing what I want to do, being a good, honest jeweler, working on customs as well as fixing and repairing jewelry and doing all this shit, as well as going on tour and enjoying my music and having residual income from stuff like my podcast and all sorts of endeavors through my artistry that have been birthed through me being an artist and dedicating my life to music, just like jewelry. Jewelry came out of me really being an artist and dedicating my life to music when I was 18, probably originally when I was 8, you know? Jewelry jewelry came to me like, all right, well, in music, everybody rocks jewelry. I like jewelry. I want some big, cool custom chains and stuff. Let me see if I can actually do the work and enjoy the work. And I can, and I do. It doesn't feel like, some sort of crazy chore to me. It's actually very relaxing. It's like a therapeutic type of meditation for me. I put in my headphones, I lock into the job, and all the other stresses of the world are gone. I don't care who's president. I'm just trying to fix this fucking chain. I'm trying to size this ring up, and that's a beautiful thing that I think everybody should have. Is something that gives them that clairvoyance or clarity of mind to be able to just tune literally everything out and lock into a specific task. Because that's what I do when I'm in the booth. I just try to harness this feeling inside of me that I feel like produces my best work and my best me. I don't know if it's the muse or just me doing music, but I get into this mind space, I roll my eyes into the back of my head or whatever, and then I just go on the mic. I follow the beat. I try to stay as much. A lot of the times, I don't even try to stay on beat at all. I just let the verses flow. I just let the words and the bounce and the music flow out of my body. And as it does, sometimes I end up perfectly on beat, perfectly in key, that the engineer has a very easy job. Sometimes I don't, and the engineer has to kind of nudge and push and edit the vocals to make it all what it really should be. But it's usually pretty easy for them to see, at least maybe not my vision, but a vision of something creative they could do with that. That would be really cool. And I love it. It's a beautiful thing, even if, like I was saying, eventually it doesn't take me anywhere that I want it to. I don't perform in the Colosseum in Rome. I don't get to perform in Athens. The Acropolis in Athens. Even if I don't get to do all these amazing things I want, I will do them in some capacity because I refuse to die without it. I I refuse to die with want of compensation and, justice for my own needs and whatever. I will figure out in the next 5 years, I believe, very easily a way to, if not manifest that through real people and an actual tour of the world, I'll be able to do it on some sort of VR type of situation with these advanced AI video games coming out, and world models and world generators. We'll be in the matrix, and I will be working hard enough in my jewelry and on my craft in general to where I'll just do that. Yeah, no, I'm not playing World of Warcraft right now. I'm playing World Simulator, where I'm living out all of my dreams and all of my fantasies in the best capacity I possibly can. I get to do all the shit. I do it and feel like I actually did it all without really harming my body in a lot of the ways that doing those things physically might actually end up doing. You know, which at the end of the day, if your body's not here to be worked on and worked through, what is it here for? Just to drip dopamine and give yourself an experience of life that you really want in some way without having to actually move it at all. No, I would not choose or willingly want to be the AI superstar that only I know about and foster in my fucking basement in some sort of fucking surrogates type situation where I just sit in this giant tanning booth type pod and end up in like a Matrix world for a few hours to live my actual fantasy. No, I would like to actually live them. I would like to actually do all that stuff in person. Bert Kreischer did it. You can too. Lil B is who he is, so who are you? I'm just saying that at the end of the day, I think it's very possible, and everything has been going exactly as it's supposed to. Otherwise, I would have probably given up on this shit. I would have given up on music. I would have given up on this podcast. I would have given up on myself. But there's a fire and an energy deep in my bones, Craig, that tells me I'm meant to be doing this. I am meant to keep working on my music and doing all this shit in the ways that it is going, and it's all going perfectly as planned according to divine timing. I am very big on timing being key in life. Timing, I don't believe timing is everything anymore. I did for a while, but now I'm definitely subscribe to the thought that timing is key. It's not everything. You can do a lot of great things even with improper timing or impromptu timing of the things and the actions you're trying to do. But good timing can make all of those things and everything you want to do feel like you would really want it to feel in the moment. So that's what I strive for. That's what I work for. And that's what I'm working towards. You know, I believe, I believe, I believe. And I believe as long as we keep working towards our goals and keeping that vision in our mind's eye, we can achieve it and we can be better. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk because TEDx would never. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Please check out my music, BB Angel, on all platforms. Go watch Hood Anime by BB Angel. I love it. It's one of my favorite songs that I've ever made. Shouts out to Carter Boy for recording and making the beat. Shouts out to Scando the Dark Lord for having the idea for that sample on that song. And shout out to me for making it all happen. Now, please join me in a quick prayer as we exit the podcast. Dear Lord, hear me for today. I pray that on this day, like on all days, you continue to guide us on the pathways of manifestation of our dreams and of our goals. And on the pathways of more health and more wealth and more peace and positivity and truth and tranquility, trust, togetherness, oneness, emergence, safety, unity, respect, love, and all things good, Lord. Please grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. 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 Thank you, guys.